If you plan on entering into an important business contract, whether it's signing a lease, hiring a marketing agency, hiring an independent contractor, or something along those lines, these are the 5 steps that you need to follow, especially if you're not a lawyer. I'm attorney Sina Rezvanpour. Just because you're not a lawyer doesn't mean you can't think like one. I break down legal concepts in ways that everybody can understand. Now let's get started. The first step is to do your homework on the company or person that you're entering into this relationship with. Type their name in online, see what comes up. Consider whether this business or company is established. Have they been around for a few years? Do they have business contact information? Do they have an online presence? If they're certified by some sort of board, are there any disciplinary actions against them? And along those lines, ask yourself, is the deal that I'm being offered too good to be true? If it is, a contract is not going to save you, and it's probably just going to cost you more in legal expenses down the road. The second step is to ask yourself, am I getting something out of this? What about me? If you're signing a contract just for the benefit of the other side, then that probably means that you have more negotiating power than what you think. If the contract is just you making a bunch of promises to somebody else, that probably means that you can actually ask for some compensation or some promises in return. Step number 3 is considering who has the leverage, who has the bargaining power in this deal. So for example, let's say that there's 2 sides to a deal. There's a landlord and a potential tenant. And the landlord has this incredibly desirable space, and the potential tenant is a mom and pop shop that no one has heard of. In that situation, the landlord has all of the leverage, and they're going to be calling the shots in the negotiation. That doesn't mean that you can't get a better deal than what's first offered to you, but just know that you're going to probably have to bend the knee when it comes to signing this contract. Step number 4 is that you have to read the damn contract. This is where most people screw up. You have to understand what it is that you're agreeing to. Now let's say that you have to sign an 80-page contract, you don't have the money to go hire a lawyer. At the very least, start by reading the table of contents. Understand those different sections of the content that's within the contract, and then pay particular attention to those sections that sound important to you. Now what I recommend that you do, and I've had a lot of clients hire me to do this, is to actually hire a lawyer for a couple hours, have them read the contract, get on the phone with them, let them explain to you the general terms, and if you have any specific questions, they can go back in, look a little bit more closely, and give you some more detail on that. The 5th and final step is what we call the 4 corners rule, which means that everything that you're agreeing to should be within the 4 corners of the document that you're signing. That means that if there's some promises that are made in an email or a phone call that are not actually within the contract that you're signing, you should not rely on those promises. Let's say, for example, you are entering into a contract where every 2 weeks you have to pay $1,000 in exchange for some services. And the email that's sent to you along with that contract says, don't worry about the price that's in there. I'm going to offer you a 15% discount. Unless that 15% discount is actually reduced to writing and is turned into an amendment or an addendum to the contract, you can't really rely on it and it won't be enforceable. Here's a bonus tip. You want to make sure that you save a copy of the fully signed document somewhere safe. If the other side doesn't live up to the promises they've made, or if you have to break the contract for any reason, you want to make sure you understand your rights and remedies in that situation. If you find yourself in the position of entering into a new contract, don't be too intimidated. It's usually a sign of growth and opportunity. At the same time, you don't want to rush into these things. Make sure that you're thinking clearly and level-headed. I've included a blog post below that covers a lot more topics that weren't included in this video, so go ahead and check that out. You don't have to be a lawyer to think like a lawyer. If you're interested in better understanding your rights, go ahead and click the subscribe button and check out the other content on this channel. And if you have any suggestions for things that you'd like to see covered in a future video, go ahead and click the subscribe button. I'm Sina Rez Law, and this is not legal advice.